Let's talk about one of the wildest, most prophetic songs ever written, Bob Dylan's Desolation Row. Now, you might just think it's this epic 11-minute folk song. But what if I told you it's actually a blueprint for our modern political circus? A roadmap for how we all ended up here?
Okay, let's just start right there. The song kicks off with this line. It's just brutal. A public execution is being turned into a cheap souvenir. This one image tells you everything you need to know about the rules of this place. So what on earth is Desolation Row?
So right off the bat, you gotta understand this isn't a real street you can find on Google Maps. It's more like a state of being. It's a headspace where everything serious, everything that's supposed to matter, gets twisted into a bizarre, chaotic sideshow.
All right, so to really get it, you have to see the song as this long, surreal parade. So let's step inside. Welcome to the circus. This is a carnival of masks and, well, cultural debris.
And this is where it gets really wild. The cast of characters Dylan pulls in, it is just a total jumble from every corner of history and fiction you can imagine. Any sense of order is just thrown right out the window.
Look at this guest list. It's absolute chaos. You've got Cinderella, sweeping up. You've got Romeo. You have Cain and Abel from the Bible hanging out with the Hunchback of Notre Dame. By smashing them all together on this one street, Dylan basically breaks them. They're not these powerful symbols anymore. They're just hollowed-out actors, props in the grand, meaningless show.
And this gets us to the core of it, the logic of spectacle. This is what happens when authority stops being real and just becomes another performance.
And Dylan just goes right for the jugular here. The guy who's supposed to represent law and order, he's blind. He's in a trance. He's literally tied to a circus performer. Power isn't real here. It's just part of the act. And frankly, it looks ridiculous.
And that's the thing, right? If the guy in charge is just playing a part, then, well, so is everyone else. Your identity, it's not who you are. On Desolation Row, it's just the costume you're wearing for the day.
And if you need any more proof, it doesn't get much clearer than this. Einstein, the ultimate symbol of pure reason and intellect, is walking around dressed as Robin Hood. His genius is irrelevant. All that matters is the disguise. He's just another act in the carnival.
Okay, so this is all fascinating stuff from 1965, but what does it have to do with us right now? Well, let's talk about politics as performance and see how this song is basically a perfect lens for our own world. Let's just map this out. On the left, Dylan's carnival. On the right, the modern spectacle. When Dylan says the circus is in town, doesn't that feel a lot like politics as reality TV? The blind commissioner in a trance points to a world where attention is the only real currency. Einstein disguised as Robin Hood is what happens when culture itself just becomes a costume to be worn. And that line, poisoning him with words, well, that sounds an awful lot like a strategy where contradiction isn't a mistake, it's the whole point.
And here is the absolute bottom line. In this kind of world, the spectacle, the chaos, the performance, it isn't a distraction from the main event. It is the main event. It's not a bug in the system. It is the entire operating system.
Which brings us to the big question. If Desolation Row is this state of being, this place of chaos and performance, where do we find our carnival today?
Seriously, think about it. A place where historical figures are ripped from their context, where everyone is putting on a show, and where the lines between true and fake just completely melt away. Where is that? It's somewhere we all go, pretty much every single day.
Yep, it's the social media feed. That endless scroll is the most perfect modern version of Desolation Row you could possibly imagine.
The parallels are just uncanny. Context collapse? Check. A deadly serious news story is right next to a dancing cat. Historical figures become memes? You bet. Performative identity? That's literally the whole point of having a profile, right? It's filled with endless shouting matches and that constant nagging feeling where the line between what's real and what's fake just dissolves.
And Dylan, way back in '65, gave us the perfect closing image for it all. The Titanic sails at dawn, and everybody's shouting, "Which side are you on?" We are all on a sinking ship, but we're too busy screaming at each other to even notice the iceberg right ahead. That is our digital world in a nutshell.
So we end right back where we started. Postcards of the hanging. In a world that's trying to sell you a spectacle of everything, even the most horrific things, what happens when you just refuse to buy one? What does it even mean to turn away from the show? And that is something to chew on.